right, I am ready. Chris is ready. The question is, are all the people out there listening ready for another episode of the Grunge Bible Podcast?
Ready or not, we're coming.
As stated, my name is Ethan. I'm joined by Chris, and this is the Grunge Bible Podcast. This is episode 269.
It is episode
269.
269.
We are excited to be back, and we got a great episode for you. As tradition, we like to start off with a little mental health check-in and just a life checkup. So, Chris, how are you today, man?
Oh, man, I'm doing pretty well. We are recording this on Sunday, May 17th. This episode's coming out on the 18th. It's been a pretty solid week, actually. I had a really, really great week training. Work actually went pretty well this week, too. Nothing super crazy going on. Had abundant time with friends. Softball got rained out on Thursday, which was unfortunate. So I didn't get to play, but still got to engage in some fellowship with the boys Thursday night. Friday, I went to a concert. I saw a band called Weekend Friends from Maine that I saw. They opened for the Wonder Years, the gig in Boston in April that I saw. And I liked them when I saw them opening. So I was like, hey, I'm going to start listening to this band. And lo and behold, they played a show. They had a show scheduled in Providence. So I went Friday night. Nice little 200 cap room. It was super energetic, super fun. Had a really, really good time. And I got a McFlurry on the way home. And I was very happy about that. And I was home. I was laying on my couch by like 10:30. It was awesome.
That is great.
Yeah, so it was pretty solid. And then Saturday, one of my buddies, brother Tom, just bought a home. So he called the fellas in to do a massive amount of landscaping and recalibration of what the exterior of the home looked like. So we got that done, sprinkled in a few domestic lights along the way, and we ate like kings afterwards. And it was a great day. And now I'm here talking to you. So it's been pretty good. I've had a nice stretch lately of like a couple of fun things in a row here. So I'm great.
It's awesome. It's really important to, take the normal sea of life and turn it into an event, like doing yard work. And I'm definitely a big proponent of I like sprinkling in yard work here and there, but like having a day dedicated.
Just one day though,
we got a work day. People pop in to help do some stuff, but it's like I got a list of things, list of demands that I'm gonna take care of. So I'm proud of you guys and brother Tom for getting the house and getting it all in order, getting it ready for, you got to get it ready for the summer, dude. We did a lot of that. My parents bought a lot of flowers yesterday, and they were planting all day. So
'tis the season.
I was at a track meet the last 2 days.
Yeah.
The district championship here, District 1 in Pennsylvania, and it went really well. We had a few qualifiers. Had a girl qualify in javelin, and had a guy win the district championship with a PR of 59 meters, so 193 as a junior.
And he overtook you and Elijah on the record board for juniors, right?
He did, yeah. There's a junior record of Elijah was at 187.7. I was at 187.2, and before this meet, his PR was right in between. It was like 187.5. So he was right in between his two coaches, and he did 193. So, Elijah and I were over 200 our senior year. So we'll see what this kid's got. It's still a lot of work to do, but he's tracking. He's doing a really good job, and it was
nice.
It was great, just kind of being back and. District's at the same place every year, so we were back, saw a bunch of people,
a lot of history.
Brought back old memories, got the new photos to update, it was really special being a part of it. It was a lot of fun. Just being a part of it, I love coaching. This is, coached a few athletes like full year, our good friend George, he's my farthest high school thrower. He threw 60 meters. So, at the state championship and won. So I do have a state champ under my belt. But this one's cool because it's the high school we went to and stuff and helping the program. So
yeah, dude,
we will see what next week brings. And actually of course, they're starting a big renovation on our field. They're putting in all turf. So we don't have our field for the rest of the
course. Any other time of the year.
and they're not putting in a runway. So
no, of course not.
So we're on a spot where we're going to lose our training facility.
We've been there a time or two.
Such is life with track and field. So it'll be interesting, but a lot of good signs. And we actually, afterwards, there was a Popeyes right by. And we went to Popeyes 2 days in a row, Chris. And I don't know what your experience is with Popeyes, but they kind of fit in the for me like, and this is how a lot of franchises go. Like if you go to the right Chipotle, the
Yeah,
right Popeyes, the one that's owned correctly, like you're gonna get a pretty, pretty delicious, fast food
I
meal.
agree, man.
If you go to the wrong one though, dude, you're gonna be like it's
Chaos.
yeah, it's chaos. So this one, like, I mean, I don't honestly don't know when the last time I've been to a Popeyes. Maybe once in my life before this. I
Oh,
actually have a
really?
friend. Yeah, I really Popeyes is not many around here, and
Okay.
I just feel like when I went south, I did I always had a bad rep for me, but great experience. Really, really nice spicy chicken sandwich and fries. Dude, we were pumped up. It was like it was our little reward. So. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty great. Just wanted to throw that in there. Shout
Yeah,
out to
that's
Popeyes.
fantastic. Yeah, the Grunge Bible podcast runs on Popeyes
Yeah. Well, I
and
do.
Miller High
My
Life and
my old
Zin.
roommate. Yeah, exactly. High Life, Zin, and Popeyes. My roommate in Birmingham for a few years, Trip Marcus. His father owns like five Popeyes in Louisiana, and so I've always been, he's they do it right. So
Yeah.
it's been a long time coming. So I do support Popeyes. I have a good connection there. So
Yeah, dude. That's
yeah,
heat.
dude, it was a really solid weekend. I came back. I went to the closest place to get a beer to my house, which was like a mile away.
Hmm.
Had sat down, ordered some wings to go, and had a few beers as I wait, and then head home. And
That's
it
a
was
professional move right
it
there.
is. I was like,
It takes
I
a lot
wanted
of
to bring it
gusto to
up.
walk in and commit to doing something like that because a lot of people will chicken out and they'll just eat they'll eat the wings there. But
Yeah,
you knew exactly how long it would take. You got time for a couple rounds of
I
suds.
literally while I was sitting, I was like, this is totally. They could be the move. Like this is the move. Like,
Yeah,
and I was only a mile away, but I called in. I called in. I told him I was like, hey, I'll be right there, but like, throw the wings down.
yeah.
Got in. I was like, I'll take a O'Hare's, which is your stout, your stout that's not Guinness, and it was great. And then I had a fiddlehead, so had just enough time to drink two beers, and then the wings came out. It's a perfect place.
Oh yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So all in all, we're all pretty jacked up here about life. Do you feel obligated to let everybody know the day that we're recording?
I like to
Because
just to
we
frame
always
it
do.
because we always
Yeah,
talk about yesterday I
yeah.
did this and it's just kind of nice to I don't know
Let the
maybe people
people
I'm
in.
sure nobody cares but I care.
It's just always funny. It's always like we're recording
We're
this and it's
recording
coming
this
out. On this.
10:45 a.m.
Yeah,
Eastern Daylight
exactly.
Time, latitude line 76 degrees north.
We don't hide anything here
No,
at the
yeah,
TB Pod. So
we are an open book. So, and we're able to do that because we have a lot of people in our corner, Ethan, and the people that are in our corner, they let us know they're in our corner and they actually mean it and they back it up. So we'd like to thank you for tuning in, for listening. If you're subscribed to the show, that's great. If you'd like to subscribe or follow the show, that would be great too. We appreciate that very, very much. If you want to support us financially, we would especially appreciate that. We've received a lot of support over the years via people that have either donated to us directly because that's happened before, purchased merchandise, or joined up on Patreon at any time along this journey that we've been on with this podcast over 5 years in. And if you want to join the Patreon, you can navigate to the show notes and click the Patreon link there, and you can join at $2, $5, or $10 per month tiers, any of those tiers, or you can give at any level that you're able to that is sustainable for you. And as we like to do, I would like to thank the top tier supporters on Patreon, beginning with Abraham and Frank, and also beginning with the Cracker Man, and followed by the legion of top tier supporters: Carlene Solona, my mother, Jamie Lynn, Fuck Soup, the Blue Owl, Doug Endy, What the Fuck is Up, Denny's, Nikki Six, Black Hole Sean, Seattle 4 Fanboy from New Jersey, Sherry Matthews, Gochu John Russell, King Buzzo Stole My Hair, the Michael Dooley Project, A Bit Dusty, Ultra Mega OK, Heidi in Chains, Chris Buckley, and Looking California, Feeling Minnesota.
amen. Thank you to everybody who has chosen to support us.
The squad.
Like Chris said, if you're sitting there and you feel so inclined, give it a like, give it a follow, leave a comment, and then if you're really feeling up to it, check out the links and become a Patreon supporter.
Absolutely.
Best and most direct way to support the pod.
Totally.
And with that, let's get into what we have for the episode. We have our This Day in Music that we're going to do, and then we're going to follow by, we have Chris Cornell's anniversary or death anniversary. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. Do you like saying death
I would just
anniversary?
say the anniversary of his death. I feel like
Yeah.
somebody's death doesn't need like a specific like term kind of thing. I don't know. It's always
Anniversary always sounds like pleasant, so I
right.
have a hard time saying it. But yes, it was.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
Well,
maybe it's more straightforward. But
yeah.
so we're going to count down. Not really count down. We're going to go over some of our favorite Chris Cornell vocal performances over the years, not live performances. That's a whole bag of worms that um, I don't know, was just going to be,
That would be a
there's a lot.
hefty, yeah.
There's a lot. I mean, they have your favorites, but we went studio song. We just went songs, just,
Yeah.
what
It's
you're
a
going to
nice
get.
crash course in some of Chris Cornell's best moments at the mic in the studio. And,
Yeah.
we never stop listening to Chris throughout the year, but particularly around the anniversary of his death, which this episode is coming out 9 years to the day that he died back in 2017. So figured that it was a appropriate time to kind of review and pay tribute to him and just talk about some of our favorite moments from him. So we're looking forward to getting into that right after we do This Day in Music. So I can go ahead and get us started here for This Day in
Yeah.
Music, May
Let's do it.
18th. On this day in 1967, Joshua Clayton Felt, who was most notably the frontman to the really, really great band from the early 90s called School of Fish, he was born on this day in 1967. Josh passed away from cancer in the early 2000s, way too soon. He was a really, really talented musician, and we've done an episode on School of Fish in the past. I really think their debut self-titled album is it's a pretty essential listen, I think, to get a good landscape, a good view of the landscape of what alternative rock was like in the early 90s. It's one that I listen to quite a bit, so we wish a happy birthday to Josh Clayton Felt, and we miss him, and we're grateful for his music.
Amen. I totally forgot that we had an episode in School of Fish.
Yeah. We
People
have
forget.
episodes about a lot of things, man.
There's a lot of episodes out there. Moving to 1975, Jack Johnson is born. So happy 51st birthday. And Jack Johnson, I remember, so his album In Between Dreams came out in 05, and that had Banana Pancakes on it, and Better Together, which two songs that got me into him during the time. It was just kind of like,
I figured you would have spent some time with him at some point.
oh yeah, I have. And he's one of those guys that I remember when I heard the song Banana Pancakes, and for whatever reason, I thought that he was going to be like, not like rock or like I thought it was, I don't know, maybe I was just listening to like a lot of like alternative rock or something, but I had the genre all mixed up. So when I listened to him, and it was more like reggae and like soft rock, I was like, all right. I mean, it didn't hit me right away, but I grew into him a little bit more. And the thing I like about him is he's not super showy. Like, he just gives a good performance.
Just
like
does what he does.
Yeah, good acoustic guitar and singing. And like, if you're in the mood for it, I mean, he has a very unique voice, and he just makes good music. He's not gonna like you said, he's not topping the charts or whatnot, but he's a really, really solid artist.
He's always around, man.
Yeah, like he's always around. Like, it's like, oh, Jack Johnson. Like, yeah, let's put this album on. It's really solid. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I don't know
fantastic.
when his most recent stuff is, but
who knows, man.
he's been around for 20 years is all I know.
A lot of people have been around for 20 years, so happy birthday, Jack Johnson.
A lot of people have
Not to be confused with the longtime NHL defenseman Jack Johnson. Not the same person for those puckheads out there.
Really common sounding name in the U.S.
Very, very generic, yeah. Also born on this day in 1983, Tom Smith. Happy birthday. I'm sure there was a Tom Smith born.
Alex Smith.
Yeah, exactly. All right, moving forward, on this day in 1980, Ian Curtis, who was the frontman to Joy Division, died by suicide at age 23. And, there's so many bands throughout history that were only around for a very brief period of time. Obviously, around our neck of the woods, Nirvana comes to mind as in terms of the brevity of their run as a band together, usually followed by an untimely death of somebody in the band. But the cultural impact of a band like Joy Division can't be overstated. And I've not spent terribly much time with Joy Division's music, but so many artists, like damn near every single artist I know, has been impacted by them. And Mark Lanigan, for example, Joy Division was one of his favorite bands, and he used to close a lot of his solo shows towards the end of his life with Love Will Tear Us Apart, the cover version of that. And it's just unbelievable. 23 years old, man.
So
it's yeah. And when I was getting the notes together, I looked up how old Ian Curtis was when he died, and I couldn't believe 23. Yep. Like, especially we've had this conversation several times, both on the podcast and outside of it. But when we commemorate some of these deaths, now that we're a good bit older than a lot of these people were when they died, it's just it really puts into perspective just how short of a time that they were around. I mean, 23 was quite a while ago for us at this point, and even 27 is getting to be a few years ago for us. And it's crazy the impact somebody can have in such a short period of time.
Right. These kind of dates and numbers makes 31 feel old.
Yeah.
Which I am. Right. It makes me feel old, even though
it makes you feel old. It makes you feel 40. Grateful for the time too, because it's like, oh, you know, like we're still very young, obviously, but I have the gratitude for the time that I have had so far grows as I get older, and I try 100%. To not lose sight of that, especially when you think about somebody like Ian Curtis who passed away at such a young age.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's 23 is
that's crazy.
Criminally young.
Yeah.
Moving to 1996, we have Soundgarden joining SNL for the first time. Jim Carrey hosted them as they played Pretty Noose and Burden in My Hand, and later Carrey would induct them into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame just last year in 2025. Pretty legendary.
Yeah, the only time they played SNL. Yeah, that was it.
The first and only. So, SNL, legendary performances. So glad that we have that to watch. Pretty special. I was a big Jim Carrey fan growing up. I liked all this stuff. So
yeah,
I don't remember this, obviously.
Right. Yeah,
I was 2.
I can't believe you don't remember, Ethan. What the hell? You weren't. I can't believe you weren't watching.
Actually, I was 1.5.
Yeah, I wouldn't come around for another 5 months at that point. So or 4 months, whatever.
When I come around.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm coming, man. So yeah, I'll have to dig up the performances of that and post them on the 18th or to commemorate it. It'll be 30 years. It's crazy. So. And then lastly, as we talked about on this day in 2017, Chris Cornell dies at age 52 following a gig that Soundgarden played at the Fox Theater in Detroit. They played the evening of the 17th, and then shortly after midnight on the early hours of the 18th, Chris Cornell took his life. And this was we had been running the page for just over a year at this point, and I'll never forget that day. Still to this point, I think in terms of artist or celebrity deaths that I had actively been a fan of for quite a while when they died, I'll never forget this one. And I don't know that any death since then has really impacted me quite this way outside of, I would say, Mark Lanigan's, for example. But still, I can't believe that Chris is gone, and I can't believe that it happened and that it's already been 9 years. It's really, really crazy to think about.
Yeah, we've talked about this for sure. Obviously, we did a podcast a few times, probably, talking about him and his life, and I agree. It's one of those that I mean, Kurt was a long time ago, so it's like you kind of come to grips and be like, all right, like he's gone. But Chris is one of those guys that it is tough when you listen, like I can't believe that he didn't make it past 52, and he's not still with us and kind of growing old and being like just an icon. Like he really would have, he was already an icon, but like you have these older guys that are like show up at performances. Like Chris would have been so good for the music scene to have around until he was older, and to have the stories and hear, because how connected he was. Obviously, all the performances. I mean, he was in Temple, he was an Audio Slave, he got Soundgarden, like. His solo stuff. I mean, he was all around, and he would have kept doing that, and and performing, and it just would have been really nice to have. I mean, you can say that about a lot of people, and probably don't recognize the people that are still around doing that. But like, it just feels, it's a hard one. I mean, it's hard. Losing Scott was hard too, but Chris was bigger, and just the influence that he had on so many people. I mean. As we're going to get into his vocal performance, I mean, no one sings like Chris.
Right.
I mean, it's just he's in the pantheon for best vocals of all time. I think
regardless of genre and regardless of era, too.
This isn't like debatable. When a lot of people are going to have him on his list, like what he could do. He's up there with like the Michael Jacksons and the I don't know
everybody.
Franklin. Yeah. These voices that just transcend and. Yeah, he really was special. It wasn't just his antics; it was like talent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
unteachable
And it's
talent.
so sad too because Soundgarden wasn't done. I mean, they were touring and they were working on a new record, which is still,
Performing,
yeah, they're still
right?
performing. And his solo career, I felt like he was right at the cusp of his solo career really, really blossoming into something very interesting because Higher Truth had just come out in 2015,
Yeah.
and he had done that tour, the solo acoustic stuff in 2016 and 2015 as well. They did the Temple reunion in the fall and winter of 2016, and then Soundgarden hit the road. Audioslave had even reunited in January of 2017 for a one-off. And after that, they had kind of had discussions like, "Hey, it would be fun to do this again." And it just really stinks. Certainly as a fan of Chris's to not have him around anymore, and I can't imagine the grief that continues to this day for those who created music with him or those who he was family with or friends with, and you lose somebody like that, whether they're a public figure or somebody in your own personal private life. I mean, a void like that is never filled, and it's just really sad to know that he's not
Hmm.
with us anymore, and it'll always affect those of us that are fans of his music.
Yeah. So this past week, we were working on the jobs, and I put on Chris Cornell, put on a lot of it, and talked to my boss as I like to do, and like, yeah, we're gonna do a podcast of 10 best vocal performances or 10 most influential, however you want to state it. And we were listening, and he was like, did Chris, did he, how did he die? Did he suffer from depression or addiction? And I was like, it was, he lived a life like connected to a lot, like there was a lot of hurt and a lot of pain that came with like, losing friends along the way. And like,
Hmm.
and when you struggle with depression, I mean, it comes in waves. And I think that like he just had a lot of life, a lot of, it's just a really, I mean, just not a life that a lot of people can handle. And it's just so sad, to lose him, obviously the way we did, but anyway. And yeah, man, like I said, he just was so in the middle of the scene. Like,
Yeah.
talk about grunge and what grunge is, and we just had a friend text us about Pearl Jam being grunge or not grunge, and like, there's no debate with Chris.
Yeah.
Like, like he was at the epicenter, like he was in the middle, like, as far as the circle of life or whatever, like it pretty much starts, there's Andrew Wood and there's like Chris Cornell, and they kind of go hand in hand. Like you could say that they were the reason that grunge like was.
Absolutely. I mean, Soundgarden they were the first
People will say
Seattle band to
Nirvana,
get
but
signed
like,
to a
yeah.
major label, for example. And as we talked about last week when they had moved from SST, when they put out Louder Than Love, which we just spoke about last week. So, you can't tell the story of music in the Pacific Northwest without Soundgarden. And obviously, you can't tell Soundgarden's story without Chris Cornell. And, you know, I think for most music fans, you can't tell the story of their music fandom lineage without talking about Chris Cornell, and that's going to continue too. I mean, as we've been running the page for over 10 years now, there's people who are quite a bit younger than us, for example, who follow the page, and maybe kids that are just getting into high school that are discovering this stuff, and they learn the stories and they learn the music and they grow that attachment, and that's never going to go away. He left so many gifts behind for us to continue to appreciate and to still be close with him through his music. And
Mhm.
that's kind of the exercise that we'll be doing today, and that's something that we do all the time. And there's a lot to learn from Chris's story, and there's a lot to be grateful for, for the 52 years that he was here with us.
Yeah, I think, with, Kurt or, Scott or even like Pearl Jam and stuff, there's, they come in waves, like how, like when people talk about their influence. And Chris has a steady impact on music. Like he's always in the conversations. And like I said, this is where his voice and like what he did kind of transcends, because I just feel like there's always a little bit of buzz talking about like, oh, I can't forget about Chris or
Hmm.
Chris's, vocal. Like it just seems like Soundgarden is always like a topic of conversation and comes
Yeah.
up. And like it just I mean, Lane, like, I don't know if it's because he was older and had a little bit more time with everybody, but like ever, omnipresent Chris Cornell,
Well,
like
you think
coming
about it
coming to the
too. I
music
mean, they
scene.
were they were so big. Soundgarden was so big from Really Bad Motorfinger in 91 all throughout the 90s, and it was a big deal when they broke up. Then it was a huge deal when Audioslave happened, right?
Yeah.
For much of the early to mid 2000s, Audioslave was a really, really big deal. And then it was a huge
It's like
deal.
LeBron going to the Heat.
Yeah, exactly. And then, 100%, and they won a title, they won multiple titles.
It's when the big star gets traded. It's like, here we go.
And then the Audioslave thing ends, and then Soundgarden gets back together in 2010, and they headline Lollapalooza. Like they're still a huge deal. And then the Temple of the Dog reunion happens again, and he was making inroads with his solo career. I mean, he was always doing. Chris didn't do anything musically that wasn't big, and that's really impressive. I mean, he was always innovating, and as he aged and as his voice aged, and as his creative direction aged and changed, I mean, everything served every other aspect of who he was so well with the way that he created music. And it's just really impressive that he was able to grow along with his voice and his views of the world and his views of himself. And, you were talking about depression and everything. And it's really difficult. And there's a lesson in here, for everybody, that this stuff doesn't happen in a linear process. You can be great one day and not great the next day, and the rough patches can pop up, whenever for no apparent reason. And he spoke about that kind of stuff all throughout his career. Like I always think about Fell on Black Days, for example, where whatsoever I feared has come to light. Just when everything seemed to greet me with a smile, sunspots have faded, and now I'm doing time. And unfortunately, that is a bigger part of Chris's story now, looking back, than I think any of us ever hoped that it would be, knowing the way that his life ended. But it's the totality of his story.
Yeah, there really is. I mean, there's a lot of signs that everybody like talking about the lyrics after he passed, and I mean, he wore it on his sleeve, and I mean, he battled for a long time, and so moving towards the music, more towards the music focus, like I think making this list, the thing with Chris is you have the early Soundgarden where it's just hectic metal and like it's just impressive vocal talent. Then you have his solo stuff where it's like more comforting sound, and there's so many different ways to kind of break down a vocal performance, and like this is all acoustic, like his vocal shines, and it's like, oh no, this is his metal version where it's like, this is like kind of untouchable, as we talk about. And so we did our best to break down like kind of some different, variety of songs. You probably could pick 10 from, the first 3 albums and call it a day and be like, yeah, this is going to overshadow anything that.
I mean, you could pick 10
acoustic
songs off of one Soundgarden record, and that would be a great list in and of itself.
Yeah. And I just like, and also like picking the songs, like, there's a ton of times where I listen to a song that I don't generally listen to because it's not catchy. It's not like it's not something that, it's just not one that you hear a ton and you're like, these vocals are awesome.
Yeah.
Like these are the highlight of the song. And the reason it's not, initially known is because of the rest of the song is not as catchy as, The Burden in My Hand or Say Hello to Heaven and whatnot.
Right.
So I don't know, going through these songs, I felt similar to like, it's like 12 Bar Blues of, Scott. It's like, well, this album's not like, it's not like the best album, but it is Scott singing. So like, it's kind of cool to hear. So there's a ton of songs that we probably leave out that, a lot of, like, if you want to get in the weeds, you could argue, and it's probably right. I mean, there's so many, and also to say that, Chris and I we don't have any vocal experience. So like, as far as singing goes and like to what defines as a vocal, magnum opus, like, we're just going to do our best out here and hopefully, give some good points.
Absolutely. So in this practice, I selected a list of 10. Ethan, you selected a list of 10 of our favorite moments from Chris in the studio, and by happenstance, just how we drew it up, we had overlap on 5 songs. So let's talk about those 5 songs that we both identified as being among Chris's best moments in the studio. So that group of 5 is going to be Say Hello to Heaven from Temple of the Dog. Then we've got Jesus Christ Pose, Slaves and Bulldozers, and The Day I Tried to Live from Soundgarden. And then we have Show Me How to Live from Audioslave. And I mean, that group of 5 songs alone is a pretty good cross section of Chris's, certainly his projects. I mean, you have the 3 projects that are represented right there, but also musical styles and vocal styles are all well represented here, and time is well represented here too. You know, going from the Audio Slave project in the 2000s back to Temple of the Dog in 1990. So, you know, these songs, you have a little bit of everything on these too. You have the way that Chris could sing with some nuance in some of the verses, and then really opening things up with the choruses and some great bridges as well. You know, even if we start kind of in chronological order, for example, I think it starts with Say Hello to Heaven, which is obviously, I think, you know, the central tribute on the tribute record to Andrew Wood, talking about, you know, Chris's reaction to Andrew Wood's death back in 1990. And this is just an unbelievable performance. Especially, you know, he sings those verses so delicately, but especially towards the end where he's just belting out Say Hello to Heaven over and over again, hitting the top of his register, which was higher than most people. And he's able to do it with such great feel that, you know, I think when you operate on those extremes, it's hard to kind of keep that feel when you approach those altitudes. But Chris was able to do it, man, and he did it so well.
Yeah, this Temple of the Dog album has a lot of, you know, beautiful vocal performances. I think he was obviously emotionally charged when he's singing, and this song it's one of the top songs that, you know, give you those feelings. I mean, it just feels, you know what he's singing about. It's like pretty black and white, and it's one of his best friends, and it is, you know, it's heart-wrenching, and every time you listen to it, you kind of have those feelings. And you know, when I listen to a vocal performance and I kind of hone in on that, like, that's what I want to feel. I want to feel moved in some direction. And this was an easy choice for me. I mean, this is like, you know, this is like a, you know, back of the napkin, as they say. Like, you know, I got 3 songs. Like, this is obviously going to be on the list.
It's going to be in the list. Yeah.
We're not counting down, but it's going to be probably top 5, you know?
Yeah. I would certainly say so.
Yeah. And I mean, I love his, you know, we'll get in like Bad Motorfinger probably next. Like, and those performances are awesome, but I've said it with like Eddie Vedder. I mean, even like, you know, Lane, like anytime these guys bring it down and do some more, you know, not, this isn't completely acoustic, obviously, but like when they bring it down and the vocals are highlighted, I'm just so happy to listen to it.
Yeah, I feel the same exact way. And as we kind of share these songs, we're going to get a lot of variation there in terms of the style of songs. And, you know, Chris's voice is right at home in a ballad, in the same way that it's right at home in Slaves and Bulldozers and Jesus Christ Pose from Bad Motorfinger, which we both
these go
identified.
well together.
Yeah, they go so well together. Jesus Christ Pose especially, I mean, talk about hitting the gas right from the start of the song. And, you know, he would play guitar on this song too. And, you know, the fact that he's able to do those things simultaneously is still boggles my mind to this day. And just, you know, once again, the choruses, you know, when he keeps singing that, like, I need to be saved, like, it's this piercing vocal that just cuts right through you. And it's just like shrieking out, which is really unbelievable. And there's a great juxtaposition on Bad Motorfinger between like that style of singing, but also if you think about like a song like Searching with My Good Eye Closed or something, or even a lot of Slaves and Bulldozers, it's that really lower vocal register that serves the sludginess of this song and of that record really well too.
Yeah, for Jesus Christ Pose, and there's a lot of times where, you know, you have the guitar like kind of wailing in like a high register, but then Chris is like matching it with like, it's like wow,
yes.
wow, and he's like yelling like right with it, and you're like, is that another guitar? Like anytime he's like, it's like dueling.
Shit, that's Chris's voice.
Yeah, it's like dueling guitars. Anytime that he does this, you know, on multiple songs, but like he does that, I'm just like, okay, yeah, that's only Chris can do that,
right?
And like it's just, you know, if someone covered it, they probably would just be like, yeah, I'm not going to do that part.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna wait till the chorus and stuff. And yeah, so that song is just badass, dude. And,
yeah.
You know, Chris Cafaro, he wrote that song about Chris Cafaro. He told him.
Absolutely, man. Chris Cafaro took a picture of Perry Farrell in the Jesus Christ pose, sitting in a bed, arms held out like he's been carrying a load, and Chris Cornell saw that and decided to write a song about it. So there's a lot of great photographers out there. Not many photographers have had Chris Cornell write a song about one of their photos. As far as I know, Chris Cafaro is the only one. So massive shout out to him for playing a part in the creation of that song, which is it's a pretty cool thing to hang on your mantelpiece for sure.
It is. Oh yeah, awesome picture.
Oh yeah,
Barry too.
what a heater, man.
Yeah, but Slaves and Bulldozers, like I said, these two songs, like, and this is where we kind of like when I am doing, when I was doing this exercise, like the construction of the song, obviously at like the everybody else is on fire,
Yeah,
and Chris is it's just like a well done song where the vocals stand out among another, just a beautiful arrangement of music. So,
yeah.
yeah, it has like a higher, I don't know, it has a higher R value when it comes to, you know,
I mean, the cool thing about Chris's voice in Slaves and Bulldozers, especially during the verses, is that his voice almost serves as like another piece of the rhythm section. Like it just kind of has this swing to it, like, virgin eyes and dirty looks. It's just
yeah.
it just serves the song so well. And then I always love when Soundgarden did this and when Chris chose to do it. Like there's a lot of nuance in the verses, and then he just decides to have fun and just showcase his voice in the choruses. And I'm listening to it right now. And, so bleed your heart out. There's no more rides for free. What's it meant for me? Like all that kind of stuff. And it's just this song live too. I know we're not talking about live performances
Right, both of
specifically,
these.
but I mean this was like the drunkest, rambling, dirtiest jam session that Soundgarden would do in a lot of times, and they would tag it with the old blues song "In My Time of Dying," that Led Zeppelin played in the 70s as well. And they'd always tag the interlude with different ad-libbed vocals that are just completely ridiculous sometimes, but it just works so well. And I mean, Chris, the classic thing that people say about great vocalists is that they could sing the phone book, and I would still listen, I would still enjoy it. And boy, was that ever true with Chris Cornell, man.
Yeah. Moving on to, I guess we'll move on to some Super Unknown.
The Day I
Day
Tried
I
to
Tried
Live.
to Live. This song was a must add for me as well.
Yeah.
This is a, this is one of my favorite songs of the band. I
Me
think.
too.
Like, yeah, really, really catchy, really good. I mean, his vocals are just, I mean, it kind of has the low end where he's not like, the verses are pretty low, and then he brings it up big. So there's a lot of dynamics in this song that, I appreciate. It's not all rock, all heavy.
Yeah,
which
I
is
mean,
good. It's a good mix.
yeah, and you have like the weird time signature thing going on with this song too, and that descending guitar riff that you always drawn to when you listen to this song. And something that's equally impressive about this song is, when they recorded this, for example, Chris isn't 24 years old anymore. He's getting on up there, and they would play this quite frequently. It's funny, this was not a single that was released for Super Unknown, and it wasn't an especially popular song from the jump, but as time went on, for one reason or another, I think the same reason why we're drawn to it, the fans really, really were drawn to this song, and it became more and more popular as time went on. And, to the point where when they did the Super Unknown reissue, they did a commentary section, and Kim was talking about this, where he's like, yeah, like it's become one of the fans' favorite songs to hear in the set list. And, even right up until the end of Chris's life, he would sing this song live. And, the fact that somebody in their late 40s or, pushing 50 or on the other side of 50, for example, can sing a song like this live and sing it well is really impressive. And
Yeah.
I love that about this song. And the amount of times I've sat in my car and I'll sing along to the verses, and like when that chorus kicks in, I got to tap out. I can't do it.
Well, and that's like compared to the Bad Motorfinger songs, like it's kind of hectic, and the melodies or like the hooks, they're not really, it's not really like that. Where this one, like it has like the chorus and like kind of the build and like something to sing along, and it's really well done vocally. So it kind of sticks in your mind a little bit more, and it's a very strong vocal performance all the way through. And just a little contrast to the three songs that we already talked about, like the Say Hello to Heaven is obviously a totally different dynamics in the song, and this one's like your driver song, that you're going to be singing with. That is not
Speaking of driving songs, dude, the entire Audio Slave project, especially that self-titled record, hands down some of the best driving music. While we don't condone felonies, like this is great heist music. Like if you're trying to, rob a bank, like in the movie Heat or something, like you're driving up to the Boost, listening to Show Me How to Live, or Coach Eyes, or Light My Way, Set It Off, any of that stuff. But we zeroed in on Show Me How to Live, and these guys got together. The Rage guys were doing that project in the '90s, and Chris obviously was in Temple and he was in Soundgarden, and they just got together to make a really, really, really great rock record here. And this is perhaps some of the more conventional stuff I would say that Chris did throughout his career.
Yeah.
Just in terms of like these songs, like this is just rock music. But even well, it's not as ambitious perhaps as some of the stuff that Soundgarden did with the song construction, and it's not as ambitious as like the rap rock that Rage did, for example. Chris is knocking it out of the park on this, and I'm always impressed by the vocal performances that he got in the studio for this record. And Chris's voice was struggling around the time that Audioslave really hit the road in 03, 04, 05, around that, and these are really, really difficult songs to sing live, and still many nights he was able to go up there and just kill it. But the studio stuff for Audioslave is out of this world. And the chorus for this, once again, and when he just holds that "Show Me How to Live" over and over again, it's just perfect.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking about earlier. Like, you have the band behind, and it changes the way it frames the vocals. And like you said, this is like more rock, and it's like it's super unique because it's Audioslave, which are the Rage guys, and you got Tom Morello playing his guitar, and everybody's doing their part. And but the vocals fit in a much different, like kind of cleaner, like you said, it's more radio friendly, or it's more like just kind of like naturally fits. So I think that it kind of it highlights it a different way. And he killed it on like this whole song. Obviously, the whole album, like you said, is really, really strong vocally. And this is a great one.
yeah, it's great. what else are you gonna say, man?
Yeah, what a song. So those are the 5 songs that we kind of like, we shared. And there's a few here that I chose that I was actually really surprised that you didn't choose.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm sure you feel this similarly. And there's songs that I couldn't necessarily. I couldn't also. We had a cap at 10.
Right.
So I'll go first and say that this one song that, like, if we're coming to like Chris's absolute like peak, like one of one songs that I don't think anybody can really even potentially try to cover. Like Birth Ritual is just one of those songs where I'm like, it has to be on the list. It has to be on the list. Like this is not somebody, like someone could come and sing Show Me How to Live and be like, it's pretty good. It's no Chris, but like no one's doing Birth Ritual.
No.
like
no one should even try.
No one should even try. Like this is like the octave and I don't even know, it's not falsetto, but like this is just not.
Well, that's the thing. His register went so high, like that he could get that high without doing a falsetto, which is unbelievable. Because like anytime I'm not a trained
I don't even know what a falsetto is. I guess.
Yeah, like it's just I don't know how he was able to get up there with his natural voice without going into a falsetto.
Like, I mean, this is a longer song. What is it like?
It's kind of metal too. Like this is
it's
a hard driving song.
Yeah, dude, it's fast. Like, dude, this like I said, this song is like mega, and this is just talent. I mean, this is just talent.
Yeah.
And like I said, not something that someone's going to try to take on, which they shouldn't. Yeah, just incredibly impressive, and just like it has to be put there as far as like, this is your, I don't know, this is your Super Bowl performance, or this, it's like this is the one stat that the one record that's not going to be broken type deal for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why don't you throw a song in there?
I will throw a song in here. So I'm one of the songs that I selected, a similar function. I'm going to choose, I'll submit the song Beyond the Wheel, which is from the Screaming Life project. And, I think if I had to zero in on like his most awe-inspiring vocal, like this is one, excuse me, not Screaming Life, this is from Ultra Mega OK. But, these vocals are just, it's kind of a good pairing with Birth Ritual,
It
just in
is, yeah.
terms of what he was
And
able
I
to
knew
do.
you were gonna have
They come
this
from
one
a
on there.
similar
We've
era.
talked-
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. This is the first song that I thought of when we decided to do this
Yep.
episode. Just kind of in the vein of like, this is something that Chris did that nobody else could do. And this was Soundgarden's first studio album, and right from the jump, for example, I mean, he's doing stuff like this, and I don't know how you can't listen to this, if listen to it back then and not know that these guys were going to be special and that Chris was a very special talent, because this is, I don't know anybody else that's doing something like this.
Yeah, and like I said, these two songs, I mean, it's not your radio song of like the hooks are not as obvious, and
Right.
it's just heavy, and he's singing like in a different. I mean, like he's in the clouds here for sure.
Yeah,
Like he's
he
up as
sure
high as you
is.
can go. Yeah, I knew you were gonna put this one on there.
Oh yeah.
You know, so I chose something adjacent, which is how we ended up with these two.
That away.
All right, so the next song that I'm gonna go with, that again, a little surprised that you put it on your honorable mention, which I appreciate. I'm surprised it didn't make the list, but there's probably a reason for it. But Nothing Compares to You.
Yeah, his cover.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it was a cover, so that's why it didn't make the list. But like, it just is so compelling every time I listen to it. This one seems, I think I listened to it the most this week when it came to like, oh, I got to figure out like where Chris Cornell's best vocals lie.
Yeah.
The song always came up, just so beautiful. It's effortless, and it's hard to argue. It's just so good. And I think I listened to a live version most of the time, off of
the Sirius XM
live
live version that he did
on the album. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that, so a little cheating there because you're getting the live whatever, and the live stuff for the live. He has a lot of live recordings that are just beautiful,
really, really special. And it's funny. I mean, Prince wrote this. Sinead O'Connor popularized it, but I think you would agree with me on this. I believe that for me, Chris's version is the definitive version, and right. I'm glad that you included this on your top 10 list, because this showcases the other side of what Chris's voice was able to do. He recorded this one in 2015 when he was 50 years old, for example. It's a long way from the Ultra Mega OK days or the Screaming Life days, and he's and this is what we're talking about with, as somebody ages, they're able to employ their voice in a little bit of a different way.
There's experience in this song.
Yes.
And like if we have say Hello to Heaven, it was like he kind of circled back and was like, I'm gonna do another tribute. And like I feel like he's singing about his buddy Andy here.
It could be about anything, and
could be about anything, but it's just there's a lot of emotion in this song that I don't say you don't get it a lot in music, but like when someone is like emotionally charged in a performance, like you just know.
Yeah.
And I get that every time I listen to this, live
Absolutely.
version.
Yeah. What a great performance there. The next song that I'm going to go with is from the Screaming Life project, and it is going to be Nothing to Say. This is a dark horse for perhaps one of my favorite Soundgarden song ever. I just love the beginning. It's a really, really big, airy intro, and then Chris hits it right from the beginning in the first verse when he sings, "Someone said my words are out of balance, nothing to say, you've got nothing to say," and he's just absolutely crushing it with this. The guitar complements his voice so well, but you said earlier that Chris is singing, he's in the clouds, and right here he starts in the clouds and he just stays up there the entire time. I think because it's pre Bad Motor Finger, a lot of people kind of forget about this stuff, but this is if this song were included on a major label record, for example, that Soundgarden put out, I think it would be an incredibly popular song for them, and I think it deserves a lot more appreciation than perhaps the casual fan or a casual listener would give it, because this is just top tier stuff.
Yeah, this is totally a dark horse. This is a song that I haven't spent much time with myself. So when you bring it up, and I've listened to it, and it's like, all right, this is like, again, what I was talking about. It's like these if you had an argument that this is his best performance, like I can see where you're coming from.
Totally.
And it's just like this song, because it was younger, he was younger when it's like effortless power.
Yes.
Like it's just this is it doesn't seem like he's straining in this song,
No.
even though it's incredibly
Even though he should
powerful.
be. I mean,
Even though he should
Christ.
be. Yeah, like
Yeah.
this is just like, oh yeah, that guy's got 400-foot power and he doesn't, it's just,
Yeah. He doesn't even follow
it's
through. It's like
different.
Schwarber, dude. You know,
I
he
was
can
gonna say
he
it's
can
like
swing and
Schwarber, man.
stop his swing as soon as he makes contact, and it's going 430 over the right field fence, which he did a
Yeah.
couple of times against the Red Sox this past week.
Yeah, oh, yeah. He's been on a new level.
Dude, I think he was the first in the bigs to 20 dingers this year. So,
Oh, for sure.
oh, that's
Yeah.
fucking awesome.
Yeah,
We always
good
find a
call.
way to always find a
Oh,
way to
yeah.
equate what we're talking about to Kyle Schwarber.
We need to do it more if you ask me.
Yeah, I think so. All
Um,
right, your turn.
my turn. Yeah, again, this song is kind of thought you put it on and it's such a well um composition of a song in its own right, but Reach Down,
Yeah.
Temple of the Dog song.
Temple of the Dong.
This is a long song, right?
Yeah.
11, and they just, as we like to say, they spread their legs.
Yeah,
and they
McCready,
just-
man, this was his introduction. Basically, if you think about it, this was before Pearl Jam, and he just absolutely went to town on this one.
Yeah, I thought this would be on your list as well.
Yeah,
It's one of those kind of slower songs where the vocals are just like, it's like, all right, like we're just gonna kind of set the stage here, and you guys go. Like there's backups. There's like there's a lot of like there's layering in the vocals, and
Yeah.
it's a really really sick.
it's kind of Zeppelin-y if
sick
you think
song.
about the song construction and also Chris's vocals.
Yeah.
Like I get a lot of Zeppelin vibes from the Temple of the Dog project, and none more perhaps than on Reach Down.
Yeah.
And
This
this is
is a
another one
jam,
too.
dude.
There's a really great performance that they did at a Temple of the Dog reunited in 2010 at an Alpine Valley show. And he sang that 20 years after he was in the studio, and it's just unbelievable that, that he's still able to do stuff like this. And they performed this during the Temple 25th anniversary shows in 2016 as well. And he's able to a quarter of a century later, he's still able to hit these notes and sing it the way that he wanted to. But yeah, this is I mean, it's so hard to only choose a few from like the early Chris Cornell era, because I think every single time he opened his mouth in the studio in front of a microphone, you were going to get something special.
Yeah. It's and so this one too, like the verses they're not like wordy, but like, he's kind of like, he's saying a lot of
It's
words.
ambitious,
right?
yeah.
It's not just like hanging notes. I mean, the chorus is big and he does that really well, but like,
Yeah.
like throughout the whole thing, like he's getting a lot out there, and I don't think that's easy to do.
Right.
Like the cadence of the vocals. So
Mhm.
it just, from my untrained vocal ear, like this is like really impressive.
Oh yeah.
And it's just such a groove. I mean, this is like you said, Zeppelin, like 80s and like early rock and roll, just kind of like going before
Yeah.
they go total metal for
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah, like I always zero in on like the kind of the wordy verse that leads into the chorus.
Yeah.
Like, love was my drug, but that's not what I died of. So don't you think of me crying louder than some $1 billion baby. Ooh, I want to rest. I want to rest. I want to rest. I want to reach down. And the kind of the seasoning that
Chills.
he puts on the reach down when he sings it is just yeah, it does give you chills.
This is elite. Like,
Yeah.
This is just such a, and it's 11 minutes long, and it's like, you want more.
Yes.
Like, it's one of those songs you're just like, oh, it's a jam, dude.
Mhm.
Oh, I would love to have seen this.
Oh
I would
my
love to
God,
have
dude.
seen them just like, stretch their legs on this one.
Yeah,
Like,
man.
let them roll.
Dude, I wish we did make it to that Temple show back
I
in
know.
2016. That's still a pretty big regret of mine as it relates to seeing these musicians. But
Hindsight's 2020. I mean, that it seems like such a, like, I can't believe we dropped the ball on that.
Yeah.
But in the moment, it was tough. But dang, really, we
Yeah.
should have.
yeah, that's
Should've.
a tough one. All right, we're closing in on the end of our lists here. I'm going to kick it back to a song that we discussed quite a bit last week when we did Louder Than Love. I'm going to put Hands All Over down on my list here. The grouping of songs that I've been talking about here with Nothing to Say, Beyond the Wheel, and Hands All Over are kind of from, just about the same era. But this one too, I mean, Chris is playing guitar and he's singing, and, it's what I love about Chris's voice.
Mhm.
You know, the once again the juxtaposition between verse and chorus here is just is top tier, and I love this song, man.
This song, Dad, we talked about it a good bit last week, and um, it really does stick out as like just a really a well formulated Soundgarden like song, and
Yeah,
it has what you need. Has good, nice guitar riffs. It's pretty catchy,
yeah.
and you know he's doing his higher
And he
register like
holds those choruses for what feels like 40 seconds where he's like you know, you're going to kill your mother, you're going to kill your mother, and he holds that last syllable of mother just
yep,
with so much nuance, and it leads in, and the instruments are all just banging around like crazy, and
yeah.
it elevates his voice elevated everything that the rest of the guys in the band were doing, which is the greatest thing that you can do as a musician. Is elevate your boys.
Yeah, yeah. Mother really that's a good choice, as they all are. So I don't know which one I want to do next, but I think I'm gonna go to Audio Slave here.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate Shadow on the Sun. Um, again, you know, kind of the way that the song sets up with Audio Slave is more traditional, and but he like does a great job of kind of leading into each verse and chorus. And then something that stuck out is like that, you know, the final verse is like is going to be a higher octave the whole time. So it's like the first two are one thing, and then the next one it's like he takes it up another notch and he holds it for the entire verse, where it's, you know, it's just like I don't know, it's kind of what you want when a song is crescendoing. It's like all of a sudden the vocalist is like I see you and I'm gonna go there for this and I'm gonna hold it. It's not just for one little bit. It's
Yeah.
just like the entire verse, and you know, it's just like I don't know. It was unique enough for me to be like, yeah, I want to put this era on there again.
Hmm.
Another Audio Slave song. So
Oh yeah, like that the vocal part in the chorus, the when it kicks in and the drums are going crazy, I can tell you why people go insane. I can show you how you could do the
yeah,
same. Like that part right there is just it's my favorite part of that performance. And
right. But then you throw it, you know, throw in the end where you're just yelling "Shadow on the Sun,"
yeah,
and it's like it's like this angry yell that
yeah. He's really
it's
redlining his voice here too, and like every single time he
it's
hits "sun,"
raspy, like
you think it's gonna break, but it doesn't.
yeah. Yep,
Yeah.
and this is just the vocal prowess, the
Hmm.
talent
Yeah.
coming through.
I love those moments throughout Chris's recording career where he would hit those notes with a little bit more aggression because his voice, he was
Yeah,
able to reach
yeah, he
those
took it to
really
a
high registers, but when he's able to do it and he adds that aggression and the punch to it, it's just unlike anything else because that takes balls to do, you know,
right.
to sing a song like that high and that aggressively. And, you know, as I was talking about too, when he would sing this song live, I mean, this was, you imagine like you're singing for an hour and 10 minutes and then Shadow on the Sun is next on the set list and you got to give it all you have.
Yeah,
I can't imagine how difficult that is to do.
yeah, like, and yeah, exactly. He took it to another. It's like in that lower zone where and he gets a little bit more raspy,
Yeah.
and it's just strong.
Hmm.
It's like, oh yeah, I mean, he doesn't break. He
Yeah.
holds the line, dude.
Oh yeah, it's all you can do, man. All right, my penultimate song. We're going back to 1994 for the title track of "Super Unknown." Just because you know this, as I've talked about so many times on this show, "Super Unknown" was the record really that I first got into Chris's world and Soundgarden's world, and you know the title track of any album is always going to pique your interest, maybe a little bit more right when you're looking at the set list or the track list rather, and. Yeah, this is kind of you know the prime of Chris's career, obviously, and the apex of his commercial success. And you know, I just love how you know we've talked about a lot of songs where there's a little bit of kind of lingering on some notes, and they're kind of meandering a little bit. But this one is just the tempo's up really quickly, and you know he's hitting these notes and he's moving through the song with a lot of velocity that I think maybe
Yeah,
wasn't present on some of the other songs that I've had on my list to this point. So I wanted to include this style of song on my list for that reason.
yeah, it's good. There's a really good pace to the song, and
Hmm.
the choruses are like, um, yeah, there's like good pace to it. I think
Yeah.
that's the best way to put it. And he's just like you said at his peak. It's
Yeah.
effortless like strength
Yeah.
through it, and This is a good ad for
And he
sure.
does make sure at the end that we do get that linger because, he just hits over and over again, Alive in the Super Unknown. First it steals your mind and then it steals your, first it steals your mind and then it steals your. He does that, I think, 3 times. And then he hits that just like guttural soul at the end to close it out, which is just, oh man, it's so good.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, man, he just reminds you all the time. He's like, nope, like I can do this. Let me throw this in
Yeah.
there.
Still got my fastball.
Basically, yeah. Like, uh, so all right. It's
Your
my turn,
last
right?
song. Yeah. Final one.
Yeah. So final song that I'm gonna go with is off of Euphoria Morning. Really just kind of a yeah, I don't know, probably a dark horse. But Steel Rain, one of the songs off Euphoria Morning is just a beautiful another beautiful song, right? And there's a lot of acoustic stuff from in his yeah, there's a lot of acoustic songs that I really wanted to throw in there.
Yeah.
And this one just has such a really strong chorus where it's not the highest register and it's not he's not like overstraining, but he's you know giving it giving you everything you want.
Yeah.
Talking about Steel Rain,
Hmm.
this is a beautiful spot that I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it's like the rest of the band, the way that it kind of like cuts through, but it sounds like a different vocal that I hear on other songs. Like it just
Yeah.
it seems not like Prince. Almost sounds like somebody different. And I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad that this record's represented on your list too, because this was his first solo album. It's really the first thing of substance that he did after the breakup of Soundgarden. And there's a lot of interesting sounds on this. And, when you have somebody that, Chris so well from Soundgarden, especially Time and Place, in 1999 or whatever, what is the Chris Cornell solo record going to sound like? And, you get a song like that and it's just another side of what his capabilities were, which is really great to have represented.
Yeah, I'm glad, and we did this, knowingly and unknowingly, like touching all the projects because as we talked about, or I said before, like the complement to the sounds that the rest of the band is playing,
Yeah.
whether it be low or high or aggressive or not, like it shines a light differently on the vocals and you hear them differently. And I mean, that's, basic, song construction.
Yeah.
And so this one, like it has a different feel to it. It's like acoustic, but like also pretty, psychedelic, kind of rock. And his vocals is in a different light. And it's
Mhm.
beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like James, he had that, he's like James Bond type of like
Yeah, dude.
kind of ballad, which, he's done. He's done
He
a,
has.
what was a song?
My mind, right? Or something like that. I forget what the name of it, but that he did for the Bond movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll look it up, but
Yeah.
really, really beautiful song. I was like, I gotta put this on there.
Oh yeah. Good stuff, man. All right, I'll close things out here. The last song on my list. I chose this just because of the time and place that this song was finished, but I'm going to go with Black Rain, which was left on the cutting room floor, a really, really rough early version of it way back during the Bad Motor Finger sessions in 1991. And then when Soundgarden decided to get back together in 2010, they came back to it and finished the song. And, the fact that 19 years had passed and he was able to hop in and continue upon an idea that, Chris Cornell, 19 years his junior, was able to put together, and they performed this song on Conan's TBS show in 2010, and we've had some conversations with Eric Lederman, who he watched that live, and when they played Black Rain, Chris steps out and he's got his long hair like circa 1991, and he sings a song like this, and I remember we were talking to Lederman, and he was like, I remember watching that performance and I was just speechless. It was just like, holy shit, Chris is back, and somehow he's turned the clock back. And just speaking to his talent and the ambition that they had to return to a song like this. And who's to say if they would have written a song like this in 2010 or for King Animal in 2012? Just kind of, I love that too, where it's like, hey, like we've been broken up since 1997. A lot of people aren't sure what we're going to sound like or how capable I'm going to be, especially coming off of the abuse that my voice took during the Audio Slave era. And it's just like, first first at bat, you deposit one in
Yeah.
the stands just to show everybody that you're still that guy. And
Yeah.
I'll always love that song for where it came up in
Right, time and
Soundgarden's
place.
time and place. And Chris is just kind of making sure that everybody knows that he still has it. And boy, did he ever still have it, man. That was a special man.
Got to remind people who you are and what you got.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
dude.
Another really great one. So, I mean, that, like I said, there's so many songs.
You can't stutter when you're talking with your eyes. That's such a great lyric.
That is it's so true, right?
Oh yeah.
Eyes don't lie.
I've tried, yeah.
See into somebody's soul as you look at their eyes.
Yeah, man. That's why you have to keep your good eye closed.
Oh man, it all comes back.
Fucking A, dude.
Yeah, so again, like there's so many songs that we could have put on here. I was thinking of I really like Seasons, Sun Shower.
Totally.
Some heavier ones like Set It Off was another like Audio Slave song that would have been fun to put on there. Like Suicide.
Yeah.
Really could have been easily added.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are some honorable mentions for me.
Yeah, I had thought about including Rowing from Soundgarden's album King Animal, just because
I thought we got King Animal.
It's a different side of Chris's voice, and it's just kind of he sticks more towards the lower register there, but it's still just as badass.
Yeah, and you on the list, you didn't put it for your honorable mention, but you made a vocal list of a bunch of songs, and you put Can't Change Me off the Euphoria Morning. Would have been really fun because same thing. It's a different style of sound for Chris that, and you get on his solo stuff. And it's a shame. Yeah, it's definitely a shame that we didn't get more, see where his career would have went because we would have got more solo stuff. And Nearly Forgot My Broken Heart. That one was
another great one.
I remember listening to that a ton when it came out in probably 2015.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, and as it stands today, there's still sounds like it. Eventually, we are going to get the final Soundgarden record at some point in the future, and I'm sure in Chris's solo back catalog and his solo vault, there's still some things to come out. And it's just sitting here talking about Chris Cornell for an hour, it just makes you miss his presence even more.
He really was the best.
Yeah.
Like people ask all the time who the best vocalist of the big four and
stuff.
Might
be Chris.
It might be Chris. As I say, if we do the same thing but with Lane, I'm sure we'll change our minds or whatever. But
goes to show you how good these guys were, man.
Yeah. It's obvious these guys were special.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
That was pretty fun. Like I said, these songs are just all bangers. They really are so special. So
100%.
A lot of fun.
Dude. Absolutely. Well, Ethan, thank you for taking the time to riff with me about Chris Cornell for an hour. And if you're listening, thanks for joining us as well. We appreciate it. We'd love to hear your list of top 10 songs from Chris Cornell's projects throughout the years. So if you're feeling ambitious, you want to write up a list, send it in to us. We'd love to see it and chat about it with you. So the phone lines are open, so to speak. Additionally, we'd like to thank our producer, Drew McFadden, for helping us on this project all these years, and very grateful for his presence as well. The phone lines are open for Drew as well.
I was going to say, dude, you got to call me back, Drew. I gave him a call this week, dude. I went to voicemail again, dude.
Oh, man.
Got to get him back in the studio.
Absolutely.
Great. But yeah, thank you everybody for listening and showing your support. We'll be back with another episode and, hopefully keep giving you guys what you want. And so stay connected. If you're here at the end of the pod, we salute you.
We do.
Chris, we got a Sunday to take care of,
We sure do, Ethan. I'm looking forward to it. I got some things on my plate I got to take care of. You got a doubleheader in softball you got to take care of. So things are going to be pretty good. I'll keep it short and sweet for Songs of the Week. I'm going to put Nothing to Say on the Songs of the Week list, just as my dark horse favorite Soundgarden song. So we'll throw that on there. And Ethan, I don't know if there's one that short and sweet you want to throw on too.
Yeah, another dark horse. I mean, I'm gonna go with the Steel Rain.
Yeah.
I was really enjoying that this morning as I was prepping. So I think that it's something that needs to be listened to here and there. So
And this last point, this is why you get into conversations about music with your friends, because they will push you to reconsider songs that you might not listen to. Like Steel Rain wasn't on my radar until we had this conversation, and now
yeah,
I know as soon as I close this laptop down, I'm gonna throw it on and spend some time with it. So thank you for that, Ethan.
we did it again, dude. Music conversations bring out the best.
They always do, dude.
So hopefully you enjoy the conversation and it gives you some listening ammo for the rest of the week. So yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, everybody. Thank you again. Rock and roll.
Rock and roll, everyone. Stay heavy.
Stay heavy.
Hanser.
Hanser.